Hi, I'm Gary, the old geek guy, and I try to help older ones understand technology as simple terms as possible. I also review technology that might be useful to seniors as well, and today I'm going to do just that. I'm going to review the 2021 iPad 12 Pro with the M1 processor, which, by the way, is the latest and the greatest. And I'm going to compare it with the 2019 12.9 Pro with the older process, the A1 processor. So let's get right into it. Now, obviously, the two big things, selling points for the 2021 M1 processor, the 12.9, is the processor itself, but also the display. It's the newest iPad and really all that much better than should you look into the older one and save? Being a geek guy, and an old one at that, I follow technology, and I usually end up buying the latest technology because it's generally a lot better. But let's see about these two iPads, the iPad 21 and the iPad 2019. Here they are, both of them, side by side. They look generally exactly the same. In fact, they are the same configuration. The camera's a little bit different. The one I have, the 2021, actually has 3 cameras, and the other one has 2 cameras. Well, Amazon, for example, has the 2019, the older one, with 256 gigabytes. That's the model. It's renewed. That means it's been used, but they renew it. They remanufacture it for about $600 or $700. Now, 256 gigabytes means it can store internally 256 gigabytes of information. Applications such as music, photo, documents, and a whole lot more. For tablets, 256 gigabytes is usually more than enough for storage for the average person, because you can even store in the iCloud if you have too much information. You can still surf the internet, you can get your email, your text without using very much room at all. Even songs and photos store in large quantities with 256 gigabytes. Now, Amazon has the latest, the 2021 version with the M1 processor and the better display for about $1,100. Now, that's a big difference. Let's assume you want to buy an Apple Pencil, $129 from Apple. You might be able to get it a little cheaper on the street if you wait for like Black Friday. But by the way, it's well worth it. I use my pencil all the time, not just for drawing. But you may also want to buy a case. Another $15 or $40, depending on what you want to use for a case. $15 case is not much. A $40 case is really nice. So the difference that between the two will buy accessories that you would still have to buy with the more expensive 2021 model from Apple. Well, enough of the cost. What about better display and the faster, more powerful M1 processor? Well, here's where it gets a little clouded. Let's start with the display. Here are the two of them together. You can see them right here, right now. The 2021 is on the right-hand side, and the 2019 is on the left-hand side. The 2021 iPad has what's called a Retina Display, liquid Retina Display, and I can't begin to define what the liquid Retina Display is that makes it better. But they came up with that name, and that's what they applied to it. Now, the 2019 version has what's kind of an LCD screen or display. Again, I don't know what that means exactly, but the newer model is supposed to be the superior by a long shot. But is it? Here they are, the two side by side. And you look at them yourself. See the difference? Are they honestly, or is it pretty much the same? Well, I understand that here on a video, you're not going to see a lot of difference probably in the two. They really don't show as much, and it might be a lot better than what you would see on my vlog here. But a screen, think about it, a screen as small as a tablet, even the 12.9, which is the biggest one that iPad makes, it can be very sharp inherently in most cases because the screen is inherently small. It's not big. It's not like the difference between a 70-inch TV and a 40-inch TV, where the HK4 and HDR and all the beautiful things a display can do, because it can be very, very impressive. I agree with that. The videos are pretty much the same. I mean, the videos like films, YouTube, and so on and so forth, to me, they're pretty much the same. Now, the pages with the applications, that is the home pages, they call them, with all the different little icons, there's a little bit of difference, but wow, be breathtaking? I don't think so, not at all. Certainly not worth paying $300 or $400 more for. How about the breakneck speed, the new M1 chip? The M1 chip was manufactured, or is manufactured, by Apple itself. Something brand new for them. They've never done this before. They've always bought from Intel and other sources. But now they have their own, and it is impressive what this chip can do in some of their other units, like the MacBook Pro and so on and so forth, and the MacBook Air. And also the MacBook Mini, which is for display for internet itself. And now the 2020 version has what's called an A1 chip, as opposed to the M1 chip. And the A1 chip is manufactured outside of Apple, like for instance Intel and so on and so forth, whereas the M1 is an Apple-made chip. All of the testing that we see online on the difference of the two chips shows a huge increase in speed. But they don't show it necessarily on changing into programs and so on and so forth. They have all kinds of maps and all kinds of testing apps and so on and so forth. And yeah, it's impressive if you look at it that way. But is it really on the iPad? I compared the two. In fact, I'm going to compare them right now. I'm going to show you the speed of opening a pretty big application, which is called LumaFusion. LumaFusion, by the way, is a video editing system that I use. I'm going to review someday because it's magnificent, absolutely magnificent. But I did not see an overall speed increase in opening an app. I opened a large application, like I say, LumaFusion, and they both opened pretty much at the same time. If I could hit them at the same time with my my finger, and I tried to do that. I posted a YouTube video of my photos using LumaFusion, again, that app that I'm going to be using in all my video editing, and found that generating the edited movie, or getting it so it would make it a full movie that I could send out, the speed to do that was just as slow in both units, just as slow. Nothing even close to a breakneck speed. So don't let all that hype on a new product convince you to buy it without really comparing. So what is my take and recommendation? Buy the old one. At $300 or $400 difference, it's well worth it. It's well worth it and will last you a long, long time. And by the way, don't even consider the unit with an LTE model. The LTE means like your phone, that you can use it to connect to the internet anywhere you are. But don't let that fool you. You can already do that without paying the extra money for the LTE. It can be $200 or $300 or even more to do that. So don't buy it with that. Buy it with just the regular Wi-Fi. And then when you do want to connect someplace where you're out in Timbuktu, and there is no Wi-Fi, there is no Wi-Fi for your unit because you don't have LTE, your phone has a hotspot. That's called a hotspot. And the hotspot will get you there because you connect your iPad to your hotspot. And another thing too, this is just comparing the two large ones. You can buy the smaller units, the 11-inch Pro, which also has an older model and a newer model, but doesn't have some of the things that the 12 Pro has, and the 2021 even, that does have M1 processor, but it may not have the nicer screen. Couldn't tell the difference personally. But it might be something you want to consider too, but that's quite a bit less money, even in the newer one. So it might be something you want to consider. I like the big ones because I don't see too well to begin with. If you like this information and you like this post, please press the thumbs up button. And if you think about even subscribing, you could do that as well. I'd really appreciate it. So anyway, till next time, this is the old geek guy.